Downtown Wichita is in the midst of a transformation that I think few people actually realize. There's over $1 billion being invested in public and private projects that are converging on the city's core, ranging from a massive biomedical campus to upgraded riverfront and mobility infrastructure to hundreds of new housing units and hospitality growth. And some of these projects are already rising and others are poised to break ground here in the near future. But together, they're redefining what it means to live, work, and invest in downtown Wichita. Hey, if you're new here, my name is Caleb, and I've lived here my entire life. I'm raising my family here, and I'm deeply invested in our community's future. And I've spent months reviewing plans, walking some of these sites, and analyzing projects. And I'd love to keep you in the loop with all the new Wichita developments and projects like this. And the best way for me to do that is if you sign up for my free weekly newsletter. I'll put it in the description below, as well as some of my other free Wichita resources that you can check out. All right, let's begin, because there's one riverfront project that hardly anyone's talking about, and it may change how downtown feels entirely. Okay, let's start with the heart of the transformation, which is the Riverfront and the Delano corridor, which is anchored by the Riverfront Stadium and the public riverbank improvements. The city of Wichita is investing $6.24 million to enhance the west bank of the Arkansas River between Douglas and Waterman. These upgrades include expanded walking paths, terraces, and seating areas, lighting, landscaping, and integration of public art elements intended to create an accessible and attractive riverfront experience. And adjacent to those public improvements, EPC Real Estate is leading a private redevelopment initiative, and it's anchored by a mixed-use district around the stadium. This development includes residential units, street-level retail, and a 155-room hotel. The hotel will include a rooftop bar and lounge overlooking both the river and stadium, as well as restaurant and event space to make it a year-round destination. Earlier iterations of their plan included an office tower, but the current plan is more emphasizing residential and retail components only. And then across from the stadium block, the city broke ground in October of 2024 on what they're calling the Hub, which is a multimodal transit facility. And the project has a federal grant component of $14.23 million and a total approved budget package of $19.2 million. This is all going towards things like design, infrastructure, construction, and project management, with a final budget approval in August of 2024. And the city records are confirming that the facility will include 12 bus bays, administrative offices, and a parking garage, and the completion of the project is expected to be the summer of 2026. So this coordinated cluster of public riverfront enhancements, EPCs, mixed-use development, and the new transit hub is already reshaping the stadium district into a more walkable, connected neighborhood. And then a block away, EPC has already completed the 225 Sycamore Apartments, which is a 204-unit residential project with amenities such as rooftop pool, and a fitness center. And the apartment residents can now enjoy direct access to the river trail, the stadium, and the emerging retail spots around the area. And then zooming out, when you view all of these projects as a full set, the riverfront investments, the mixed-use redevelopment, and the transit infrastructure, plus all the infill housing, and you see that there's a lot more than just construction going on. You can see that there's really a new urban district that's being built from the ground up in downtown Wichita. And now looking beyond the immediate riverfront area, Wichita is seeing an influx of new housing and hospitality development across downtown overall. One of the major anchor projects that was already completed, like I mentioned, at 225 Sycamore, which is a 2-building development with 204 residential units, a rooftop pool, fitness center, and a clubhouse. And it helps bridge Delano to the riverfront amenities and offers walkability to new shops, trails, and stadium events. And then meanwhile, on the hotel side, the historic Broadway Plaza has been redeveloped into an AC Hotel by Marriott in mid of 2025. Though I couldn't confirm a comprehensive cost number, the hotel now adds about 120 rooms, a rooftop lounge, and contemporary design touches that are elevating downtown's hospitality offerings. And there's also investors that are keeping their eyes on upcoming parcels in the Delano area. And while the exact unit count for these new projects is not publicly confirmed yet, the fact that people are buying up these vacant lots is proof that the momentum is continuing outward from EPC's core development. And all of this kind of just speaks to the shift that is happening in downtown Wichita, in that it's no longer becoming just a destination, it's becoming more of a place where people will actually live, stay, and dine and spend their evenings. Okay, downtown's future isn't just in concrete and infrastructure, it's in places that are drawing people into the area. For example, Exploration Place is leading the way. In June of 2024, they broke ground on a $25 million, 6.5-acre outdoor playscape as part of the EP2 initiative. The site will feature 10 themed zones, think aviation, water play, Kansas ecosystems, and it's tied into a larger riverfront experience. There's already an existing amphitheater with about 1,500 seats, and it's already activating nighttime programming along the river area. And then the Kansas African American Museum is making a big bet on downtown's cultural upgrade. After purchasing the former Sunflower Bank building at 201 North Main, it plans a 22,000 square foot expansion featuring immersive exhibits, historical archiving, interactive labs, and a lot more. The time frame targets late 2026 for opening, pending funding and construction schedules. Meanwhile, the Orpheum Theater is preparing for a full restoration that began back in June of 2025 with a budget around $9.5 million. The goal is to preserve its original Andalusian style, I had to look up what that meant, update lighting, sound, seating, and structural systems, and then reopen in mid-2026. This is already a historical venue, but it's going to definitely become a centerpiece for Wichita's performing arts in downtown. And then finally, the Wichita Biomedical Campus is perhaps the most ambitious project for Wichita's downtown. The ground was broken in May of 2024 for what will be a 471,000 square foot, $300 million health sciences facility in the core of downtown. It'll host shared labs, clinical space, and education for WSU, KU, and WSU Tech. The first phase, which accounted for about $222 million of the project, is slated to open in spring of 2027, and that will anchor a ton of foot traffic every weekday, spurring demand for dining, retail, housing, and innovation spaces downtown. Okay, so creating destinations doesn't mean much if people can't move easily between them. So Wichita is investing heavily to ensure that mobility and urban foot traffic keep pace with the new developments. In the Arts District, for example, Commerce and St. Francis Streets have been rebuilt with upgraded utilities, new brick paving, improved lighting, seating, and integrated public art. These changes are meant to help reset the pedestrian experience as they walk around downtown. And then simultaneously, the city is converting and already has converted a lot of the one-way streets like Douglas, Emporia, Market, and Main back to two-way configurations. And this project is expected to wrap up by late 2025, and it's intended to reduce confusion, slow down traffic, and improve access to retail frontages. And then lastly, the Douglas Avenue underpass has been redesigned with better lighting, graphics, and safer pedestrian features, and now acts as a gateway between the Old Town and the Arena/Riverfront area. So collectively, these infrastructure upgrades knit together the various redevelopment projects into a more coherent and navigatable downtown. And even with all the current progress, there are a lot of projects that are still in the conceptual or early planning phases that could further shape downtown. For example, the Riverfront Village concept, which is a mixed-use project once estimated at $127 million, is still in design review and may reemerge as part of the city's Riverfront Legacy Master Plan. And then another parcel to watch is the so-called Kingdom Building block just east of Douglas. Though no public plans have been finalized, real estate watchers believe it will evolve into a mixed-use destination with some more residential, co-working, and retail components. And then there are several infill parcels in the Delano area along Sycamore that continue to change hands that hints at additional housing or commercial phases beyond the core EPC development footprint. So when you add it all up, Wichita's downtown is definitely at a turning point. We've got a $300 million biomedical campus that's bringing long-term daily traffic, a massive riverfront redevelopment project that's creating public amenities. There's tons of new housing, tying neighborhoods together, and infrastructure that connects all of it. And then finally, there are some cultural anchors that are attracting people to stay longer. And these investments aren't just cosmetic improvements, they really aim to redefine what the city center looks like, feels like, and how it functions on a day-to-day basis. At the same time, this does come with some new challenges like keeping housing affordable in the area and ensuring that the local infrastructure scales up appropriately for all these new projects, and managing stuff like parking and traffic and sustaining investor confidence while all of these major projects develop. But today we're seeing tons of momentum in action, not just potential for the future, and ultimately downtown Wichita is building itself into a neighborhood that people want to actually live in. And that's where things stand today. Downtown Wichita isn't just getting a facelift, it's getting reimagined from the river out, one project at a time. And what we're seeing isn't just hype or speculation. A lot of these developments are fully funded, breaking ground, and already reshaping how people live, move, and connect in the heart of our city. So whether you've lived here your whole life like me, or you're just starting to explore Wichita, this transformation is going to affect all of us. It's about building a city where people actually want to be, where you can walk to work, take your kids to the riverfront, grab dinner downtown, or just catch a concert all within a few blocks. So if you want to stay in the loop on how all of this unfolds in real time, I send out a free weekly email newsletter with updates on local developments, events, and insider info that you just won't find anywhere else. I'll put a link to it in the video description below, as well as some of my other free resources. And before you go, let me know in the comments, what project are you most excited for? Or what questions do you have that you'd like me to cover in future videos? videos. I always like to see people's feedback, especially about Wichita and what they're interested in, so just let me know. All right, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.